11th and 12th chapter tonight. And this is the conquest of the north and the list of the defeated kings of the north. Now remember last night in chapter 10, we talked about the conquering of all of the south of Canaan. Well, now we're going to talk about the conquering of all of the north of Canaan. And so as we do that, look, let me read to you from chapter 11 of verses 1 through 9. Very, very interesting chapters. It's wonderful how God works these things out. And we see the exciting way that God works. But this is what we read. When Jabin the king of Hazor heard this, that they'd conquered all of the kings of the south, he said to Jobab the king of Madon, and to the king of Shimon, and the king of Ashtoreth, and the kings that were in the northern hill country, and in the Arabah south of Chinnereth, and the lowland, and Naboth-dor on the west, to the Canaanites in the east, and to the west, and the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, and the hill country, and the Hivites, and the Hermon, and the land of Mishpah. And they came out with all of their troops, a great, great horde in number, like the sand that's on the seashore, with very many horses and chariots. And all of these kings joined their forces, and they came and encamped together at the waters of Merom to fight against the nation of Israel. And the Lord said to Joshua, "Don't be afraid, Joshua. Don't be afraid of them. For tomorrow at this time I will give all of them over to you, and I will cause Israel to slain everyone. You shall hamstring their horses and burn their chariots with fire." So Joshua and all the warriors came suddenly upon these armies by the waters of Merom and fell upon them, and the Lord gave them into the hand of Israel, who struck them and chased them as far as the great Sidon, and Merith and Main, and eastward as far as the valley of Mizpah. And they attacked them until they left none remaining. And Joshua did to them just as the Lord had said that he would. He hamstrung all of their horses and burnt all the chariots with fire. Well, what a situation. First, through a very unusual situation with Gibeon, the city of Gibeon and the Hivites, they ruled all of the south, all the way from Shiloh down to Kadesh Barnea. And now the kings of the cities of the north got together and said, "Man, we've got to destroy this army now before it destroys us." And they came out together, sure hordes. The Bible said as much as the sand on the seashore, huge army. Joshua said, "What are we going to do?" God said, "Just get your men together and you go after, and I promise you, you'll destroy them." And so they did. And they attacked these armies of the kings of the north all the way up into Lebanon, well up into Lebanon. And they defeated them without any trouble at all. You know, there's a great principle here. In fact, President Reagan many years ago quoted this principle. He quoted verse 20. I didn't read that far, but look what verse 20 says here. It says, "For it was the Lord's doing to harden their hearts that they should come against Israel in battle, in order that they should be devoted to destruction and should receive no mercy, but should be destroyed, just as the Lord had commanded Moses." You know what happened? God told Joshua, "Listen, your armies are stronger. You're more defiant. You're more committed. And what's more, you're my army. And nothing and nobody can stand against the armies of God." Remember Reagan said, I believe, this is what Reagan said, I believe the Bible said, if we have an army, we have forces that are stronger than our enemies, we'll have peace. The enemies will leave us alone if they don't believe they can defeat us. Well, look what it says in verse 21. And Joshua came out at this time and cut off the Anakim from the hill country, from Hebron, and from Debir and Nanab, and from the hill country of Judah, and from the hill country of Israel. Joshua devoted them to destruction with all of their cities. You remember who the Anakim were? Yeah, you remember who the Anakim were? This was a group of people, giants people. Some of them, like Goliath, 9 foot 8 inches tall. That's pretty big guy. And many of them lived in these cities in the north. And God said, "Joshua, we got to deal with these guys, even these giants, not too big for God. But we can deal with them, and I'll give you the strength to do that." And so here we find now, through some very interesting situations, that God had kept his promises. Now the nation of Israel ruled all of the south because of the situation in Gibeon originally, and they defeated those 5 kings and ruled the south. Then the kings of the north came against Israel, but God said, "It's okay. You go and attack them. I promise I'll give them over to you." So what's the moral here in this particular, or these 2 chapters of 11 and 12? Well, this is the moral. The God of the Bible is a promise-keeping God, no matter what the odds. The Bible tells us the armies of the north were like the sand on the shore. They were huge. But when God promises that he's going to deliver us, no matter what the odds, God will not fail us. What a great account. Well, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. Looking forward to having you with us as well. God bless.